I'm Dan Boscia, and this is my wife Arlene, and I'm here to tell you the miracle that happened with me and Father Solanus. Back in 1987, I was working at Chrysler Corporation as a senior buyer, and I never was sick a day in my life. I went and told my boss I got a...
Could I interrupt?
Sure.
He's got that a little wrong. It was the week before Christmas of 1988. Dan was at work, and his boss called me and said he was sending him home, that his speech was slurring, and he had real severe headaches. So Dan came home, and I could see something was wrong, but he went to bed, and then he couldn't get out of bed, he couldn't move. So I went in and helped him get dressed and drove him to the hospital. We got there. Do you want me to go on? When we got there, they admitted him, and he immediately had his sugar went over the roof, over 360 or 380 or something. So they were feeding him insulin. Then they put him in a room in the hospital. And at that point, he wasn't conscious. So then the doctors came in, and he had many CAT scans, many. And finally, they determined that he had brain abscesses, massive brain abscesses, and they had not ever dealt with this before. They didn't know how to treat it. So then they said, well, it's inoperable. You ought to go home and get your family together, and they can say their last goodbyes. And at that point, I was just going crazy. And the whole family was there. And my sister, at that point, they had shaved his head. And my sister-in-law, Gloria, asked for a lock of his hair. And she brought the lock of hair here to the tomb of Father Solanus Casey, and a prayer for her brother's recovery. So right after that, the doctors, like I said, they sent us home. And I mean, this was going into a month later, 2 months later, all kinds of examinations, mainly brain scans. And then finally, after we got home, I got a call from a neurosurgeon. And he said, I think I can do something for him, but it's very risky. So I had to go back and give him my permission to operate. They were going to go into his brain to drain the brain excesses. And I said, of course, if there's no other chance for his survival. And he said, I just have to tell you, the minute we go into the brain, he could die on the bed. So I said, yes, of course, what other choice would we have? So it was like 6 hours later, the doctor came out, the surgeon, a neurosurgeon, and he said, we're draining the brain abscesses. I don't know where it'll go from here, but we're doing our best. And they put a shunt in his head to help the drainage. And at that point, still in a coma. And finally, he did come. I came out of ICU, and this internist was walking by, and he said, he'll never make it out of there. It would be a miracle. I said, that's exactly what it's going to be, a miracle. We had so many people praying, and the fact that my sister-in-law was able to bring that lock of hair here and leave a prayer, it was just amazing. It was a long road after that. He was in rehab. He finally came out of the coma, and then they put him in rehab. And it took probably a year for him to learn to walk and talk and anything. He could not do anything physical. So he could not go back to work because by then they were getting into computers, and he wasn't able to handle that. My sister-in-law, Gloria, knew about Father Solanus Casey because she's been coming here for years and years, visiting in the chapel and praying here. And She's a very religious person, and she found this was the place she had to be.
They gave my sister Gloria this relic when she came here, and I guess it's a second degree, is it? Father Benedict or Father Richard, Brother Richard
Brother
told me
Richard.
what this was. I think it's the second level, and I carry it with me daily since that, and presently I have a shun in me still. This is the relic that my sister Gloria, who brought the lock of my hair for Father Solanus, was, I'm sure, part of my miracle, and it was given to him by the monks at the Capuchin monastery, and I asked Brother Richard for another one, because in case I lose this one. He says he can't duplicate it because this is a second level, and they're giving the third levels out now. And it's truly, truly a miracle, and it's brought me closer to my faith. And I understand one thing: without faith, you have nothing in this world. Absolutely.